Clint Eastwood has been a Hollywood icon for over 70 years. We've seen him as the tough guy, the cowboy, the director, and the legend who never seemed to slow down. But now, at 95, people are starting to wonder, how is Clint really doing? Over the years, he's faced serious health scares and heartbreaking losses that shook his world. And now, rumors are flying everywhere. Did Clint Eastwood finally step away from the spotlight and move into a nursing home? Is this how his story ends, or is there more to it? Join us as we dig deep and uncover the real story behind these rumors, starting from the very beginning. Clint Eastwood's humble beginnings. Clint Eastwood was born on May 31st, 1930, in San Francisco, California. His parents, Ruth and Clinton Eastwood Sr., were living in a nice area called Lake Merritt in Oakland at the time. When Clint was born, he was a big baby. The nurses even nicknamed him Samson because he weighed over 11 pounds at birth. Clint also had a younger sister named Jean, who was born 4 years later. His family roots were a mix of English, Irish, Scottish, and Dutch. And through his family line, Clint was actually connected to William Bradford, one of the Mayflower passengers. That made Clint part of the 12th generation born in North America. But life wasn't always easy. During the Great Depression, the Eastwood family had to move several times because Clint's father kept changing jobs to support the family. But from 1940 onwards, they finally settled down in Piedmont, California. There, they lived in a wealthy neighborhood with a swimming pool, 2 cars, and a membership at the country club. Clint's father worked as a manufacturing executive for a company called Georgia Pacific, while his mother worked a clerical job at IBM as the kids got older. Even though they were financially stable, Clint struggled in school. He attended Piedmont Middle School, but was held back a year because his grades weren't great. He also had to go to summer school to catch up. Later, he attended Piedmont High School, but his rebellious side got him into trouble. He wrote something inappropriate on a school scoreboard and even burned an effigy on the school lawn. These actions led the school to ask him to leave. After that, he transferred to Oakland Technical High School and finally graduated in 1949. During this time, Clint took on several small jobs to earn money. He worked as a lifeguard, paper carrier, grocery clerk, forest firefighter, and even as a golf caddy. This hard-working attitude stuck with him throughout his life. But little did he know, bigger challenges were waiting ahead. A childhood shaped by hard work. Clint Eastwood's childhood was shaped by constant change and hard lessons. He grew up during the Great Depression, a time when the economy was falling apart. In an interview with Esquire, Clint once said that people back then had to toughen up to survive. He spoke bluntly about the younger generations, calling them the pussy generation, because he believed people today worry too much about their feelings. He said, "I don't know if I can tell you exactly when the pussy generation started. Maybe when people started asking about the meaning of life." For Clint, life wasn't about waiting for someone to save you. It was about getting up and working for what you wanted. This belief came from his father, who taught Clint the importance of hard work. In a 1982 interview on the Barbara Walters Summer Special, Clint remembered his dad's words clearly. "Nobody's going to give you anything. You're gonna have to go out and earn whatever you get." His dad lived by this message too. Clint Sr. worked many jobs and sometimes changed companies, forcing the family to move around. Clint remembered one time they had to travel 450 miles because his father got a job as a gas pump attendant. They lived in many places across California, including Sacramento, Pacific Palisades, Hayward, Oakland, and more. Because of these moves, Clint was always the new kid in school. He told the Telegraph that this made him a shy boy, even though he was taller than most of his classmates. Life taught him to adjust quickly and keep to himself. A tough start in life and a brush with death. You see, Clint didn't just learn life lessons from his dad. He also experienced them through tough jobs and dangerous situations. At 13, Clint started working to help himself. He worked at a gas station, played piano in a bar, and even became a firefighter. But his life took a bigger turn when he joined the Army during the Korean War. Clint was drafted in 1951, though he never saw a battle. But that didn't mean his time in the Army was safe. One day, Clint was traveling to Seattle on a Douglas bomber plane. He was going to meet his parents who had moved there. From the start, things didn't feel right. The plane wasn't made for carrying passengers, and Clint didn't even have a proper seat. In a 2010 interview with the Telegraph, he explained that during the flight, the door below him suddenly opened, and soon after, everything started to go wrong. In his own words to The Hollywood Reporter, Clint said, "Everything went wrong. Radios went out, oxygen ran out, and finally we ran out of fuel up around Point Reyes, California. The pilot had no choice but to make an emergency landing in the freezing ocean. Clint was knocked unconscious during the crash, but woke up to find the pilot preparing to land in the water. After crashing, Clint had to swim against strong currents for almost 2 miles just to reach the shore. He later called it an ordeal I never want to repeat. By the time he collapsed on the beach, he was exhausted but grateful to be alive. This terrifying experience showed just how tough Clint Eastwood really was. But his challenges were far from over. Even after facing such dangers, Clint never gave up on life. He returned home and continued working. That same work ethic his father taught him as a child helped him later in his Hollywood career. A rocky start in Hollywood. Clint Eastwood's first steps into acting were full of struggles. It all started in the early 1950s when he was stationed at Fort Ord. Some say that a Universal International camera crew spotted him there and thought he had the right look for Hollywood. Others say it was Chuck Hill, a man from Fort Ord with Hollywood connections, who introduced Clint to the right people. Either way, Clint was eventually introduced to a cameraman named Irving Glassberg. Glassberg helped Clint get an audition with director Arthur Lubin. Now, Lubin liked Clint's tall height and good looks. Clint was 6 feet 4 inches, but thought his acting was bad. In fact, Lubin later said, he was quite amateurish. He didn't know which way to turn, or which way to go, or do anything. Even so, Lubin told Clint to take acting classes and signed him to his first contract in 1954. Clint was paid $100 a week, but even after getting the job, Clint still struggled. He spoke his lines through his teeth, something people teased him about, but it later became part of his tough guy style. Clint's early acting career was full of small, forgettable roles. His first audition for a movie called 6 Bridges to Cross didn't work out. He finally got his first real part in Revenge of the Creature in 1955, but it was a small role. His first day on set wasn't easy either. Clint later shared how the director yelled, "What the hell is this? I told you I don't want to do that goddamn scene. Who's this guy?" Clint said he thought he was going to be punched or collapse from embarrassment, but instead, he pushed through. Even though his scene got cut, he didn't give up, facing rejection and getting fired. Despite his good looks and strong build, Clint didn't become a star overnight. He took on many small roles, most of them without credit. In Lady Godiva of Coventry, Francis in the Navy, Tarantula, and other films, he played tiny parts that didn't help him much. Universal even gave him his first TV appearance in 1955 on Alan in Movieland, but it wasn't enough to keep his career moving forward. By October 1955, Universal decided to end Clint's contract. That was a hard blow. After being fired, Clint didn't give up. He joined the Marsh Agency and later switched to other agents to help him find work. He got some small roles on TV shows like Reader's Digest, Highway Patrol, West Point, Death Valley Days, and Navy Log, but nothing big came his way. In 1958, he played a small part as an aviator in Lafayette Escadrille, and his first major role came with Ambush at Cimarron Pass. Sadly, Clint later called that movie the low point of his career. It wasn't just bad roles that bothered him. Clint struggled with confidence. In an interview with Reuters, he admitted, "I'm always amazed at how good some of them are at such young ages, because it took me forever to learn how to say my own name." He also shared that getting acting jobs was tough. Sometimes agents sent him to auditions knowing he wasn't right for the role. It seemed like they just wanted to keep his hopes up, and Clint knew how uncertain his career was. In fact, if acting hadn't worked out, Clint had planned to become a business administrator. He studied the subject at Los Angeles City College after leaving the Army. The breakthrough with Rawhide. But just when it seemed like Hollywood doors were closing on him, Clint finally got his big break. After years of rejection, he landed a lead role on the TV series Rawhide in 1959. This Western show was exactly what he needed. His tough look and calm manner fit perfectly with the cowboy character he played. Rawhide gave Clint the steady work he had been chasing for years. People finally noticed him, and his career started to take off. But the road to Rawhide wasn't smooth. Before getting the role, Clint was struggling financially. He once said he was a contract player for 1.5 years, and then Universal dumped him. He was only earning $75 a week at the time. His friend and fellow actor Burt Reynolds, who was also fired by Universal, once joked about it. Reynolds told Conan that studio bosses told Clint, "You talk too slow. Your tooth is chipped, and you won't get it fixed. And you don't listen to anybody. You just want to do things your own way." When they fired Reynolds, they told him, "You can't act." After Universal let him go, Clint knocked on doors all over town trying to find work. For a long time, no one wanted to take a chance on him. But Rawhide finally opened a door that had been shut for years, and Clint walked right through it, from struggles to stardom. After Rawhide, Clint Eastwood's career exploded. He became one of Hollywood's biggest stars. Over the years, Clint starred in many hit films. Some of his most famous movies include Hang 'em High, The Outlaw Josie Wales, Pale Rider, and Escape from Alcatraz. He also shined in action-packed films like Where Eagles Dare, Heartbreak Ridge, and In the Line of Fire. In the late 1970s and early 1980s, Clint's biggest box office hits were Every Which Way But Loose, and its sequel, Any Which Way You Can. These adventure comedies showed a lighter side of Clint and made him even more popular with audiences. But Clint wasn't just an actor. He also became a respected director and producer. Since 1967, his company Malpaso Productions made almost all of his American films. Clint won several big awards, including 4 Academy Awards and 4 Golden Globes. He won Best Director and Best Picture for two of his most famous films, Unforgiven in 1992 and Million Dollar Baby in 2004. He also directed serious dramas like Mystic River and war films like Letters from Iwo Jima, for which he earned even more Academy Award nominations. In later years, Clint directed successful movies like Gran Torino, The Mule, Cry Macho, and his latest Juror No. 2 in 2024. Through all of this, Clint earned many Lifetime Achievement Awards, including France's Legion of Honor and the Venice Film Festival's Golden Lion Award. Despite all the ups and downs, Clint Eastwood proved his hard work paid off. But behind all the fame, Clint never forgot his tough beginnings and the battles he fought just to stay in the game. Heartbreaking family losses. Clint Eastwood lost his father in a very painful way. Back in July 1970, his dad, Clinton Eastwood Sr., was getting ready to play golf when something went terribly wrong. His wife, Ruth Wood, noticed that he was taking too long, and when she went to check on him, she found him having a heart attack. Sadly, Clint's father passed away that same day. It was a sudden and heartbreaking moment for the family. Clint later spoke about his dad's lifestyle and said, "He didn't take very good care of himself." That moment made Clint think seriously about his own health. In an interview, he gave some advice that he still follows today. He said, "Stay away from carbohydrates, especially rich desserts. Keep a scale in your bathroom. Get proper rest. Try to be optimistic. Eat fruits and raw vegetables. Take vitamins. Skip beverages loaded with sugars. Avoid alcohol in excess." But even though he wanted to live better, Clint couldn't help but feel guilty about the relationship he had with his dad before he passed away. He admitted to Esquire that he didn't see his father as much as he should have. Even though they lived close by, his busy career kept him away. After losing his dad, Clint tried to make up for lost time by becoming closer to his mom, Ruth. Ruth Wood was a kind woman who always helped others. Clint once said she used to give food to people who came to their door looking for work or something to eat. Their bond was strong, and Clint showed his love for her during his career. When he won the Academy Award for Best Director for Unforgiven in 1992, he forgot to thank his mom. But when he won Best Picture for the same film, he made sure to mention her. Sadly, his mother also passed away years later. She lived a long life and died at the age of 97 in February 2006 after having a stroke. Clint did everything he could to keep her alive, but she was tired. In his words, she told him, "I want out of here. I am tired." He begged her to hang on for 3 more years so she could reach 100. But when the doctors asked her if she wanted to be resuscitated, she said no. Clint respected her wishes and let her go. Painful love and a difficult separation. Clint Eastwood's personal life wasn't easy either. He had a long and painful relationship with actress Sandra Locke. When they first met, it wasn't love at first sight. Locke once said, "Clint himself was the last person I would have imagined myself romantically linked." But they eventually got together while Clint was still married to his first wife, Margaret Maggie Johnson. For a while, Clint and Sandra worked together in several movies like The Gauntlet and The Outlaw Josie Wales. But over time, things fell apart. Their problems started when Locke wanted to have her own career, separate from Clint. She said, "I understood it would be at the risk of our relationship, and when I did, that was the beginning of the end." In 1989, things got really ugly. Clint kicked her out of the Bel Air mansion where they had lived together for years. Locke later took him to court in a palimony case, which is a lawsuit where an unmarried partner asks for financial support after a breakup. Clint reportedly promised her a movie deal if she dropped the lawsuit. But when he didn't keep his promise, Locke took him back to court. They finally settled the matter out of court in 1996, but the details were never made public. Even after all this, Locke stayed married to another man, Gordon Anderson, until she passed away in 2018. A complicated family and a broken marriage. Clint Eastwood's family life has always been complicated. He has 8 children with 6 different women. His oldest daughter, Lori Murray, didn't grow up with him. She was adopted by another family and only found out later in life that Clint was her biological father. Clint reportedly didn't even know about her until she reached out to him. Since then, Lori has joined the Eastwood family and has been seen at public events with Clint. Another daughter, Kimberlyn Eastwood, was born in 1964. Her mother was Roxanne Tunis, who passed away at 93 in 2023. Kimber became a makeup artist and later worked in film production. But her relationship with Clint hasn't always been clear. Sometimes she said they were very close, and he saw her every few months. Other times, she said she was frustrated because they weren't close enough. In one interview, she even called him His Highness. Then there was Clint's marriage to Dina Eastwood. They met in 1993, and 3 years later, they got married. At first, everything seemed fine. They even vacationed together with Clint's ex-partner, Frances Fisher, showing that the family got along. But things changed when Dina started a reality TV show called Mrs. Eastwood and Company. Dina said Clint was okay with the show when it was just about the band she managed. But when it started including family life, Clint didn't like it. In 2013, Dina filed for divorce, saying there were differences they couldn't fix. She later said the divorce process wasn't easy. Speaking in an interview, she said, "He's lovely, he hasn't done much. It's other people around him who have done things that blown me away." The divorce was finalized a little over a year later. Dina later moved on with basketball coach Scott Fisher. But for Clint, more heartbreak was yet to come. Losing his partner and the struggle with grief. In 2014, Clint Eastwood was seen with Christina Sandera, a restaurant hostess. Although they never publicly confirmed their relationship, they were together for more than 10 years. Clint's managers and press people stayed quiet about his personal life, but it was clear that Christina was very close to him. Sadly, tragedy struck again. In July 2024, Christina Sandera passed away from a heart attack at the age of 61. Clint, who was 94 at the time, was left heartbroken. A report from Radar Online shared how hard this loss hit him. An insider said, "Clint has deteriorated in recent years to the point where it's beyond hiding." They said he lost a lot of weight and struggled to move around. He now walks with a noticeable hunchback, and every step seems difficult. Christina's death left a hole in his heart. They had been together for over a decade and shared a deep love that few people ever find. A source explained, Clint and Christina had such a love for each other after more than a decade together that few people share. Now, his loved ones worry about him. They hope he doesn't shut himself off from the world even more than he already has. When Christina's death was made public on July 19th, Clint paid tribute to her through The Hollywood Reporter. He said, "Christina was a lovely, caring woman, and I will miss her very much." But the heartbreak didn't end there. Later that same year, Clint was said to be in a new relationship. The identity of his new girlfriend is still unknown, and no one knows how serious the relationship is. Still, the loss of Christina took a huge toll on his health. People close to Clint were worried about how much more he can handle. After losing both his parents, suffering through a painful breakup with Sandra Locke, and going through a difficult divorce with Clint Eastwood, losing Christina might have been the hardest blow of all. But even through all this heartbreak, Clint never stopped moving forward. Instead of giving up, he found strength in his work and passion for telling new stories. Still going strong at 95. Clint Eastwood has turned 95, but retirement is nowhere in his plans. In fact, he is already working on his next movie. In a recent interview, Clint said he believes there is no age limit to learning new things. He feels that even at this age, he is still improving. He once said, "There's no reason why a man can't get better with age." Clint also said that he has much more experience now than when he was younger. He admits that some directors lose their touch as they grow old, but he doesn't believe that has happened to him. Clint also shared his feelings about the way Hollywood has changed. He misses the times when writers used to come up with fresh, original ideas. He said, "I long for the good old days when screenwriters wrote movies like Casablanca in small bungalows on the studio lot, when everyone had a new idea. Today, Hollywood is full of remakes and sequels, which Clint finds boring. He has made sequels only 3 times in his career and says he's no longer interested in repeating stories. His simple rule for himself is, do something new or stay at home." Even though many people expected Clint to retire after his recent film Juror Number 2, he proved them wrong. Released in 2024, Juror Number 2 received great reviews and did very well. But instead of calling it his last movie, Clint announced that he is already planning his next project. He explained his motivation simply, "I'll work as long as I can still learn something or until I'm truly senile." Even now, Clint feels physically fit and says his mind is full of ideas. For him, working is not just about making movies. It is about learning something new every day, learning from pain and staying resilient. Clint Eastwood's strong spirit comes from a lifetime of facing struggles. His son, Scott Eastwood, recently spoke about how his father is coping with the loss of his partner, Christina Sandra. Christina passed away in July 2024 at the age of 61 from a heart condition. Clint and Christina had been together for more than a decade. At the time of her death, Clint released a statement saying, "Christina was a lovely, caring woman, and I will miss her very much." Scott, who is 39 years old, described his father as a survivor, a trooper. He explained that Clint learned to face hardship from a young age. Growing up during the Great Depression and living through World War II, Clint saw a lot of tough times. Scott said he saw a lot of struggle. This strong background helped Clint stay calm and face loss without giving up. Scott also talked about his relationship with his father. He said it has always been special when they worked together on films like Gran Torino, Invictus, and Suicide Squad. Scott shared, "Any time I've ever gotten a chance to work with my father, it's been a great experience." He also said he would love to work with his dad again, calling Clint his inspiration. This shows how close they are, even during difficult times. Even though Clint is dealing with heartbreak, he is not letting it stop him. He once said, "You don't complain, you don't whine, you just do." This attitude has helped him keep moving forward. Losing Christina was painful, but his will to work and create stories is stronger than his sadness. And even at 95, Clint has no plans to stop doing what he loves. Thoughts on retirement. When someone reaches Clint's age, rumors often start. Some people began to wonder if Clint had moved into a nursing home, but this is simply not true. Reports from Entertainment Now and other sources have confirmed that Clint is still living at home and managing his own life. There are no signs that he needs assisted living or has retired from his work. In fact, he is in the pre-production phase of his next movie. Even after all the challenges in his life, Clint keeps working because it gives him purpose. And while people keep guessing if his last movie was truly his final one, Clint quietly proves them wrong by preparing for another film. Clint himself reflected on his health in a recent interview. He said, "There's no reason why a man can't get better with age, and I have much more experience today. Sure, there are directors who lose their touch at a certain age, but I'm not one of them." His words show that he believes in improving no matter how old you are. While his health may not be perfect, and his body may show signs of aging, Clint's mind is still sharp. According to people close to him, he has maintained a healthy lifestyle for years. He continues to enjoy his home and spends time on his property, showing no interest in assisted living. The truth is simple. Clint Eastwood loves his work too much to stop now. And despite what some rumors say, Clint Eastwood is definitely not living in a nursing home. In fact, he is busy working on his next film and staying active in the industry. His passion for creating new stories keeps him going, and his strong spirit shows the world that age hasn't slowed him down one bit. He explained, "As an actor, I was still under contract with a studio, was the old system, and thus forced to learn something new every year. And that's why I'll work as long as I can still learn something, or until I'm truly senile." Do you think Clint should keep making movies, or should he finally retire and relax? Share your thoughts in the comments below. And don't forget to hit like, subscribe, and stay tuned for more incredible stories from Hollywood's fascinating history. See you next time.